mention and you emphasize that people aren't the barrier, they're the multiplier. What does this look like inside of organizations today?
Yeah, so I think about trailblazers. Trailblazers are the ones that are have a growth mindset, right? They're already beginning to reimagine the work. They're extremely curious and they are essentially experimenting and making that work happen and making an impact already. And I think these trailblazers, the ones that are really doing it right, are looking back and bringing others along. So um, I never say that anyone's behind or going to be left behind because I do feel that each one of us has a responsibility to meet people where they're at and bring people along. Because one of my goals, or at least I'm going to try to help it, is people say that, hey, we built AI so that it can benefit all of humanity. And if we don't bring people along, then, we're stuck with AI benefiting just a select few, and certainly something that I don't want to happen. So I think these trailblazers, at least the ones that I've seen do their trailblazing well, they're looking back and they're reaching back and bringing the rest of their teams along so that the company and the organization as a whole gets the benefit out of it. So
How did they specifically bring them along? I mean, what made these trailblazers successful and how they were able to create adoptions, not just the mindset that it's another tool, but really create adoption internally using AI?
yeah, the leaders have a huge role in this, right? As a leader, when you elevate these trailblazers and you give them the oxygen to shine. So, I've seen CMOs or CROs elevate these people and they do show and tells. And the trailblazers are simply showing what they've done. And it's not just showing what the results are, but actually how and making things more accessible, right? And they actually share best practices. They share what works and what doesn't work. When I do demonstrations, I rarely do canned demonstrations. I usually go live into ChatGPT or Gemini because I can do a canned one and it always looks perfect and it has the perfect results, and AI isn't like that, right? It's an iteration and it's a collaboration with the AI. And what these trailblazers do really well is they show not just the good but also the bad and the ugly, because that's how people learn. And the other thing that they do is they, help others by putting hands on keyboard. The other people have to put their hands on keyboard. You don't learn by watching somebody ride a bike. You learn by actually getting on the bike, actually falling and realizing that going faster keeps you up on the bike. So, and you don't know that until you get on the bike. Same thing with AI. You don't know that this thing is, pandering in many situations. So you have to learn how to challenge it. So I love what the Trailblazers are doing because they inspire what's possible and they are leading the charge, not just to preserve their jobs, but to also bring the rest of the organization on board.
It's funny, as you're telling this story, really, I'm just envisioning so much of what we have accomplished as an agency with AI since really you introduced it to us years and years and years ago.
Not years and years ago, 3 years at most, Lori.
Years. And to be honest, we were using AI way in advance of that from a technology standpoint.
That's a, yeah,
Yeah, we were. I mean, we were, I think,
but not Gen AI, right? Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But it's funny because I still get frustrated with, my kit, which is my GPT, like I would a teammate who's not really getting what I'm trying to like instill in them. You know what I mean? So it's truly, it becomes so humanistic. When you let it become so humanistic like that, I think it's when you get some of the best insights and output and innovation that can really impact what we're trying to achieve each and every day. I just wanted to include that because it is very real.
Yeah, and to your point, Lori, you get to a point where you feel that this thing is human, right?
Yeah.
So I have laughed at AI. I have been surprised at AI, and AI has also made me cry, right? Because it has said some things in words that, touched me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how can this machine say those things and make me cry? And I think we need to be super careful, because at some point, depending on your state of mind, people get impacted by, that relationship um,
Yeah. Yeah,
with
yeah,
AI.
they really do. We all do. Before we move on, I want to ask, how transparency really plays a role with these trailblazers in maintaining trust as well. So how do they instill that need for trust at the end of the day and transparency?
Trust with AI or trust amongst the
I
team.
think trust among the team, like, yeah, trust among the team.
Yeah. So I think it's such an important point. I always have said that the hardest part of this transformation isn't AI. The hardest part is us, the human beings, because we have all sorts of fears and egos and passions, and we're messy, right? Humans are messy. AI is actually really, really simple. But trust is one of those things that will help people, through adoption.
Mhm.
And honestly, not everybody will adopt. But one of the key things that I've seen work, in my profession and in the work that I do, trust is really important because if they don't trust me, why would they want to learn from someone that they don't trust, right?
Right.
And I don't force my
Without
opinions.
a name. You know,
That's right.